What's good, everybody? It's the Connell and Cab Show. College football week 4, Notre Dame versus Ohio State. This is the best game all weekend, really the best game all season for college football, in my opinion. Obviously, Notre Dame, historically, since I've been born, since I've existed on planet Earth, Notre Dame has really failed to win that big game. They've always, I date back to 2005 when they played USC and Reggie Bush. They lost in a heartbreaking game in South Bend. It was just one of those games I'll never forget. I thought we had it in the bag. Brady Quinn scored a touchdown to go up by 3, and I thought, hey, this is it. We beat the number 1 team in the country, USC, who won back-to-back national championships. And then we remember, the Bush push. Matt Leinart ends up scoring the game. But I think this is a different Notre Dame team this year in 2023. I think with Coach Marcus Freeman, what he's got going, I think Notre Dame's really going to get over that hump. And I think, yes, Brian Kelly, he did some good things as coach when his time was here. But, I remember even when Brian Kelly was here, the 2012 season, we got blown out by Bama. It was like JV versus varsity there in the championship game. And then we go back, a couple years ago where we're playing against Clemson. We lose against them. We just lost big game after big game. Lost to Bama again in the college football playoff. I think that was 2018. But I think overall what Marcus Freeman has going on right now is something special. And why is it? Because of Sam Hartman. This guy, has been in college football for a long time. He's like 24, 25, considered an old guy, right? But, he's got 13 touchdowns this year, over 1,000 yards passing. So we know what Sam Hartman's about. And when I heard Sam say, I chose Notre Dame because he really could have went to a lot of different big name colleges for his final year in college. For his final eligibility to play. And he said, what, I want to go to Notre Dame, not just because of the tradition, because of the head coach, what Marcus Freeman represents, how he coaches his players, and how he goes about his business. And I love that. Once I heard that, I was like, what, I think Notre Dame this year has a legit shot of winning the national championship. And I understand, I say it every year. I said it, when Teo was at Notre Dame in 2012. I said it with Brady Quinn, Zibikowski, Jeff Samardzija, all those legends back in the day. I thought for sure that was our time, but I think, what Notre Dame, the physicality, the offensive line is one of the best offensive line that Notre Dame has ever seen, and it's this year, and it starts with Audric Estime. This dude is a beast. Probably the best college football running back right now. I really would put Estime in the top 3 running backs in college football. He's got 5 touchdowns. He's a game changer here. And we saw it against NC State, with the rain and everything after that. He just broke out at like an 80-yard run. I think Estime is the X factor here against Ohio State. I think the run game against Ohio State's defense is going to be the deciding factor. Is Notre Dame going to win this game or are they going to lose? Well, it's going to come down to the trenches. And I think, that's how Notre Dame wins this game. They're going to open up the passing game, utilizing the play action. But I think overall with Sam Hartman and Estime, dude, these two guys right here, one of the best in the country. And I just think, Chris Tyree, another good receiver that Notre Dame has. And I think that's what Notre Dame's weakness has been the past couple years, is been at receiver. And I think Chris Tyree's one of those X-factor guys where get him out in the open field one-on-one, he's going to win that matchup. And then you got Jaden Greathouse, he's a nice receiver. But I think another key matchup, not just Notre Dame's running ability in their offensive line against Ohio State's defense, I think another interesting matchup is Cam Hart, the star cornerback for Notre Dame, versus Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's a first-round draft pick next year in 2024. He's probably a top 5 pick. As talented as he is, obviously his dad's a legend. Shout out to the Indianapolis Colts and Marvin Harrison. What a legend he was, but I think his son is on his way to becoming like his father, dude. First round, he has the talent. He really does. And we saw it in the Georgia game last year in the playoff. And I just think, Cam Hart is going to have his hands full here. They're going to, if Cam Hart starts to struggle against Marvin Harrison Jr., they're going to have to double Marvin Harrison Jr. You have to. You can't just let him beat you one-on-one the whole game. But I think Cam Hart's really nice. He's been at Notre Dame for a while. He's the team captain on defense, and I think this is his time to shine here. It's time to say, hey, I want to step up to the challenge. I want to challenge myself. I want to, go to the next level just like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to go, in the first round. I think Cam Hart can go to the NFL. Is he a first rounder? That's a long shot, but you just never know. And I think this game is going to be a huge deciding factor between these two young men. But I think overall, if Sam Hartman pulls off this victory against Ohio State, they're wearing their green unis. I think really he should be in the Heisman debate. Now, he probably won't win Heisman. Caleb Williams will probably win Heisman favorite right now out of USC. He'll probably be the number 1 overall pick next year. What's even crazy about Caleb Williams is he doesn't have to go to the NFL next year if he doesn't want to, but obviously he's not going to pass up on the bag. I wouldn't either. You got to go. You got to go when the iron's hot. You got to. But I think Notre Dame, man, I just think looking at Ohio State right now, their defense is very vulnerable. I think, Notre Dame's going to run all over them and open up the passing game. And I think for Ohio State, you got Kyle McCord, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's an okay quarterback, but really for Ohio State standards, he looks like a Mac guy. Mac quarterback, kind of slow on his feet, not really fast to me. I think Notre Dame, defense-wise, put pressure on him. And Jack Kaiser, senior there, has 17 solo tackles, 26 total tackles for that defense. So I think it starts with him. It starts with Jack. And just, I think Notre Dame really has that type of defense right now to fly around the ball. In the secondary is getting way better than they were in the past. More athletic. They can run with these guys, run with the best, and they're going to have their hands full. And this is the best player they're going to play against is Marvin Harrison Jr. No doubt about it. The most talented guy Notre Dame will face this year besides him or Caleb Williams. Other than that, their hands are going to be full. But I think Notre Dame really wins this soundly. I'm not really worried about it. A lot of the times I'm worried about Notre Dame winning the big game, and it comes to be about that, hey, they lost, just like I predicted. But I truly believe this is a different Notre Dame team. And like I said, it starts with the trenches, and Notre Dame has better offense and defensive linemen than Ohio State, and better running back and quarterback. That's huge. Yes, Ohio State has better receivers. They might have a couple better cornerbacks, but overall, I'm rolling with Notre Dame. 34-20, Notre Dame wins. Over 10 points, I'm doing that. Even though Ohio State's favorite by 3 points, 55.5 is the over-under. That's tricky here. And I want to go with the over because I think Notre Dame's going to just have a heyday right now. I really do. They're at home, dude, in the green unis. That's why I brought up the 2005 game. Notre Dame was in the green unis against USC in a heartbreaking loss at the end of the game, but I think this is different now. I think Notre Dame and head coach Marcus Freeman's finally going to turn this program around to what Lou Holtz once was, the 1988 national champions. So I think, yes, I obviously high expectations at Notre Dame every single year, but I just feel like there's a different vibe to Notre Dame this year. There's a different atmosphere with head coach Marcus Freeman. So I can't wait, man. Like I said, 34-20, Notre Dame over Ohio State, baby. Ba 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Notre Dame take off. They're going to finally get over the hump and win a big game finally for once. Shout out to Sam Hartman, man, and Estimate. They're going to be the difference maker. I cannot wait. So forget Ohio State. They're done. Overhyped, overrated, all day Notre Dame in this matchup. I can't wait. And then we got Colorado versus Oregon. Oregon's a 21-point favorite. And at first I was like, hold up. Against Colorado, Coach Primetime, like, no way. Coach Primetime has really changed college football in a way where it's like, kind of like, reminds me of like the Fab Five. I wasn't even born yet, but when the Fab Five did exist with Jalen Rose, Weber and those guys, it was just like, hey, these guys, nobody really knew about them until they got put on the map. In Colorado right now with Coach Primetime, he put them on the map. But the difference is right now, I'm betting on Oregon. Why? Because Travis Hunter, one of their star cornerbacks and receivers, plays both ends, is out this game. And we saw the late hit last weekend. And really the safety who put the hit on him, it was receiving death threats here, which is crazy. It kind of reminds me of like Squid Game, right? You make a mistake, well, it costs your life, you're dead. That's how they were treating it. It's just like, dude, this is a football game. This isn't Squid Game, okay? You're not going to get shot if you make a mistake here. Like, so receiving death threats, I believe it, dude. Like, a lot of people put their lives into sports betting here. So when something happens that doesn't go their way, they're going to send you a death threat. So I'm not surprised. I mean, look at America today, dude. Look at all the shootings and killings. Like, I'm not surprised at all that the safety received a death threat for maybe a dirty hit in football. Like, that's just petty to me. It really is. But obviously, Sanders' son, the quarterback, I mean, he's been balling out this year. 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick, over 1,200 yards passing. I mean, he's a baller, and I think he's the X factor here. If he's going to have the game of his life, for Sanders. This is his time right now. You're at Oregon. Oregon's a powerhouse school. They're undefeated. Both are undefeated. Colorado's undefeated as well. But I just think Colorado, this is where they hit their, the reality check here. Everybody's on the Colorado hype train. I'm not mad at Coach Primetime and what he's doing with college football. I think it's great. I think what they have going on is something special. But this is the reality check right now. This is going to say, hey, Deion, hey, look, you're going to get slapped in the face, and you're going to lose this game. Maybe not by 21. I think it's really going to be a closer game than what they're predicting. Now, if Travis Hunter was playing, absolutely, I would go, maybe even Colorado with the upset. But the thing is, Colorado's defense, that's the big question mark for me. And I think Oregon, the way they run their offense, they just spread it out. And Bo Nix, he's from Auburn, so from an SEC school. He's really having a good year this year. 8 tutties, 893 yards passing. So Bo Nix, this guy, he's a gamer, man. I believe he's a senior, and I think, he's really going to read coverages good against Colorado. And I think Colorado, they're going to put a lot of points on Colorado. Not to say Colorado, yes, they're going to score a lot of points. Obviously, they really are, but it's just without Travis Hunter, man. The opening game against TCU, Travis Hunter had 129 snaps he played on both sides, right? 129 total snaps. He had 119 receiving yards, 11 catches against TCU, and an interception. All in one game. Dude, they're losing this guy. They're losing this game against Oregon. If he was in, I would definitely give them a shot. But right now, I'm going Oregon. I'll go money line Oregon, though. I think 21 is just really disrespectful to Colorado. But like I said, this is a reality check for Coach Primetime and Deion. I'm not hyping on the train just yet, Coach Prime. He's definitely a game changer, in sports and just in the media. I love Deion. I love what he's about. I love he loves America. I just think right now, with all the media talking about Colorado, this is a time where Oregon's going to step up and say, hey, you guys got to talk about the Oregon Ducks here, okay? We're the better team here. We're going to run through Colorado, and that's what we're going to do, and it starts with Bo Nix, and I think, it's going to be all Oregon. They got some nice players. Bucky Irvin, 3 touchdowns. Troy Franklin, 3 touchdowns, 292 yards receiving for Oregon. So I think it's all Oregon here. I really do. In 70s, the over-under, that is hard. In college football, that's to me, it's a coin flip. It can be so close. I'll probably go with the under, even though I do think Oregon's going to put up 30-plus on them. I really do. I think they're going to throw the ball all over Colorado, and Coach Primetime's just going to have a bad night. He really is. So, shout out to Colorado, but I'm still going Oregon. They are 4-0. Colorado deals with their first loss under Coach Primetime. Shout out to Prime, but Oregon's got the dub. And then we got Rutgers versus Michigan. Michigan, 24-point favorites. Jim Harbaugh's finally back after being suspended for 3 games. I think that's huge. You need your head coach back. You need the lineup. You got J.J. McCarthy, 7 tutties, 3 picks this year. Blake Corum, a first-round draft pick, great running back. He's got 6 tutties. I just think, looking at Michigan, we see it every single year now in the past 5 years, right? They really don't have a tough schedule. Yes, they play Ohio State. Yeah, that's it, really. A lot of the Big Ten, yes, Penn State and Iowa's good, but, I want them to play, a lot of SEC schools. I want Michigan to play Bama in the regular season. I want them to play Ole Miss or Tennessee. Just add some better competition to Michigan because we saw what happened last year in the playoffs. They lost to TCU. They were supposed to win that game, and TCU got blown out by Georgia. And I'm here to say that Michigan would have put up a better game against Georgia, absolutely, but it's just they did it the year before, and they got blown out. So I just think Michigan right now is just living up to the name. The program. Oh, Michigan Wolverines, we're big, we're this, we're that. Living in the past, okay, dude, it's 2023 now, dude. Stop living in the past if you're a Michigan fan. Michigan fans, they love that. They always bring up the past and what happened. It's just dude, man, it's good to reminisce every now and then, but, dude, come on. Michigan, you guys haven't been good in really so long, dude. Since the GOAT Tom Brady left, man, Michigan's just kind of fallen off for me. They really have, but obviously I'm going to go Michigan. Money line's the safer bet, but you're playing Rutgers here. Come on, dude. It doesn't get really much, easier than that. So I'm going to go Michigan. And shout out to Michigan's defense, though. Only 81 yards rushing allowed on that. So that's pretty good. But like I said, they got to beef up their schedule moving forward in the future because right now Michigan's got a cupcake schedule, but I'll go Michigan over Rutgers. And then we got Florida State versus Clemson. This is a classic matchup here. Clemson in the top 5. I mean, they got Jordan Travis, a heck of a quarterback, 8 tutties this year, only 1 pick. He's got 739 yards passing. He's a baller. I mean, he really is. I think Florida State is legit. We saw that in week 1 against LSU. I just think right now Clemson is Coach Dabo Swinney. Is his dynasty over? And a lot of people are really down Clemson. I think right now Clemson losing to Duke. I think right now Clemson, this is a time to say, hey, let's get it back here. We're playing at home. We're playing Florida State, a top 5 school right now. Let's win. Let's get the dub here, and let's get back on the map. Who would have thought, Clemson losing to Duke, and if they win out and they beat Florida State, they could definitely get in the playoff contention. Absolutely. They'll probably get a number 4 seed, but still, you just never give up, and I cannot count out Coach Dabo Swinney and Clemson. I just can't, dude. I mean, they just literally wrote them off. The media's like they're done. The dynasty's over. That's that, dude. And I'm just like, really? Already? Like, dude, I think they're jumping to conclusions. They still have Will Shipley, a good running back. They still got some pieces, even though the quarterback, Cade, is kind of questionable to me. 8 tutties, 2 interceptions. I don't know if he's like a Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson-esque, but I just think right now to doubt Coach Dabo Swinney's crazy. I mean, Florida State's the better team, absolutely. They have the better quarterback in Jordan Travis. But you know what? I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go Clemson at home. I think Coach Dabo Swinney is the difference maker here. I think he's the better coach, more experience, 2 national championships with Clemson. Right now, everything's on the line for him. If they do lose, we know that they're not going to make the playoffs this year, and we know Coach Dabo Swinney and Clemson Tigers will yet miss it again. Like, is the dynasty over? It might well be if he does lose this weekend, but I like Clemson to win in an upset alert game here by 3 points over Florida State. I cannot wait for this, man. This is going to be epic, dude. It really is. So shout out to Clemson to Coach Dabo Swinney getting the job done. And then we got Oklahoma versus Cincinnati. Look, Oklahoma, I like Oklahoma in this matchup. Cincinnati, lost a lot of seniors. They do have Emory Jones at quarterback, 7 tutties, 3 picks. This guy's a transfer. He was with Florida for a while. Then he went to Arizona State last year. Now he's had a senior year in Cincy. So I think Emory Jones could be the decision factor here, the X factor to say, hey, I'm going to break out some big runs. I'm going to utilize some play action plays, throw the ball deep down the field, take some chances on Oklahoma. But overall, I'm going to go Oklahoma. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, their quarterback, is a baller. 11 touchdowns, only 1 pick this year. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, Dylan, he can throw the ball and sling it. And I just feel like Oklahoma, they always have great elite quarterbacks. Like, every single year. Like, every year they have a great quarterback. Even when Sam Bradford, Sam Bradford won the Heisman and played Tim Tebow in Florida and lost in the championship game. They were just a couple plays away from beating that Florida team. So I think, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Sam Bradford, but overall, dude, I mean, Oklahoma, they got it, man. They got the talent. They really do. They got T. Walker, 2 tutties, 161 yards rushing. I just think Oklahoma wins here, and I'll take the 14. I really will. I understand it's in Cincinnati. 57.5 is the over-under. I'll probably go with the over, but I love Oklahoma and Dylan to just get over the hump and put up some big numbers in the 40s. So I like Oklahoma over Cincinnati. And then we got UCLA versus Utah. Utah 6-point favorites here, which is interesting, right? Cam Rising has been out for a minute. I don't know when he's coming back, but obviously if Cam Rising was on the team, I would 100% go Utah. But I think UCLA right now, they're slept on. Both teams are 3-0. They got Dante Moore. He's a true freshman quarterback. He's got 7 tutties, only 1 interception this year. I mean, dude, Moore, he's a baller. And what's even more crazy is Carson Steele. He's from Indiana. He's an Indiana boy. Went to Ball State, chirp, for 2 years. He was the MAC leading rusher, I believe, last year. Then he transferred to UCLA, and now he's got 243 yards rushing and 2 tutties for UCLA. So I think utilizing the ground game with Steele here and just, run over, Utah's defense. And I would say Utah's defense got exploited against Baylor a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, obviously, I think UCLA can pull up the upset here. I know it's in Utah, but without Cam Rising, it's just hard to. Yes, Nate Johnson's been pretty decent. 1 touchdown, 281 yards passing. But I think overall, man, I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go UCLA. I think Moore has a stellar game here. He's a true freshman quarterback. I think he's going to really show you that, hey, I'm playing like a senior, a 5th-year senior right now. and we're going to upset Utah in Utah. I'm sorry, Utah. You guys are kind of overrated, man. You really are. So I like UCLA. 52.5 is the over-under. I'll go with the over yet again because in college it's easier to go with the overs. It really is because the defenses aren't as good as the NFL, and the athletes aren't either. So I definitely like UCLA with the upset over Utah. I can't wait for this matchup. Then we have a classic matchup, Ole Miss versus Bama. Alabama's 6.5-point favorites. Look, we know with Coach Nick Saban, whenever he loses a game, it's, big news. Oh, man, the era's over. Is the dynasty over for Coach Nick Saban? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's over. I mean, Coach Nick Saban has so many national championships, dude. He doesn't know what to do with them. He really doesn't. I do think he'll win at least one more before Coach Nick Saban retires from Alabama. Now, the thing is, this year, are they going to make it to the college football playoff? That's interesting. And it starts with this game because they could very well get upset. They lost to Texas at home, really convincingly lost, which we don't see that much with Coach Nick Saban. I just think right now, Coach Nick Saban doesn't have, the defensive line that he's used to having or the linebackers. I just think looking at Alabama right now, it's just like, man, like they are kind of losing a little hype right now. They're losing a little heat. They're losing a little bit of talent here and there year after year. But, Jalen Milroe, he's a nice quarterback, but he's not a pocket passer. He's more of a running quarterback. He doesn't like to throw the ball in coverages sometimes. And I think overall that's a recipe for disaster. And I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Nick Saban starts somebody else to come in, maybe even the Notre Dame transfer who I thought would not get any PT. You just never know. He could get some playing time. But Alabama, obviously, at home, you can never count them out. You just can't. But, on the flip side, Ole Miss, they got Jackson Dart. He's a nice quarterback, 852 yards passing with 7 tutties and 1 pick. He also has 213 rushing yards and 2 tutties. So I think Ole Miss, he's really the X factor here. If Dart wants to, beat Alabama in Alabama, you got to have your best game as a quarterback. You can't throw interceptions. You can't have fumbles. You literally have to play a perfect game if you're Ole Miss. You really do. But right now, I'm going to go Alabama at home. 6.5. I think Coach Nick Saban comes up with the game plan where he's like, hey, I'm going to outsmart Ole Miss, okay? I'm going to outsmart Lane Kiffin. I'm going to outsmart these guys, and that's what he's going to do. And Alabama's going to be right back in it. I'm telling you, do not give up on Alabama. Now, if they lose 2 games, obviously they're done out of the college football playoff and a shot at a national championship, another one for Coach Nick Saban. But, Coach Nick Saban, arguably the best college football coach of all time, dude. So, for us to even consider, the dynasty's over, no, it's not over just yet. It's over when Coach Nick Saban retires. That's when the dynasty will be over for Alabama. But as far as right now, I like Alabama at 6.5. 55.5 is the over-under. I'll go with the under, but I definitely like Alabama at home over Ole Miss. I think Coach Nick Saban comes up with an excellent game plan. That's why I'm picking Alabama, because of the greatest coach in college football history in Nick Saban. Shout out to Alabama. Roll Tide. And then we got Duke versus UConn. UConn 0-3. Duke is 3-0, surprisingly. They beat Clemson in week 1, which nobody saw that coming. Riley Leonard, their starting quarterback for Duke, he's nice. He really is. He's got 530 yards passing and a tutty, no picks. Then you got Jordan Waters, 240 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns for Duke. That running game is great, and I think the offensive line is very underrated for Duke. It really is, and I think that's the difference here. I'm obviously going to go Duke. I mean, UConn's 0-3, dude. Come on, man. This is unfair. It really is. Taquan Robertson, the quarterback for UConn, 3 tutties, 1 interception this year. But, yes, he's going to make some plays, but overall, I like Duke here. Now, Duke by 21.5, I don't know about that, but I definitely like Duke. Money line's a safer bet. But even 21.5, I wouldn't be mad if you guys took Duke, just the way they've been playing recently. They've been looking nice. We look at Duke football and realize, yeah, they always suck, and we always think of Duke basketball, right? With Coach K back then, recently retiring. What a career. One of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time as well. But Duke football, we never talk about Duke football. They're ranked in the top 25, man. Hey, this is crazy. 3-0, anything's possible. I'll go Duke Blue Devils over UConn. And then we got Arkansas versus LSU. LSU, look, with Coach Brian Kelly, obviously I'm not a huge fan. Just the way he did Notre Dame, just kind of dirty, man. Just sleazy, grimy, just kind of snakish in a way. It's just not telling one of your homies you're going to not pull up or something, or you're going to pull up and not pull up. Really, dude, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like Brian Kelly. I lost all respect. Therefore, I'm going to go Arkansas. I'm going to go Arkansas. Why? Because of KJ Jefferson, their starting quarterback. He's been there for years. He's a gamer. 6 touchdowns, 1 pick this year, 629 yards passing. I think KJ's the difference here. He's going to throw the ball down the field. He's going to do some play action. But I think overall he's going to be in shotgun a lot and throwing the ball a lot here. And Andrew Armstrong, 197 yards receiving and 3 tutties for Arkansas. I just think right now Brian Kelly, man, he's really regretting leaving Notre Dame because he realizes, man, Notre Dame's getting more hype than us. Notre Dame's getting more attention than us. I did Notre Dame wrong. I do believe Coach Brian Kelly will eventually regret that decision. I think, it might not be this year or next year, but 5 to 10 years from now, he's going to regret leaving Notre Dame. I'm telling you that right now. But, obviously they got Jaden Daniels, 8 tutties, 1 pick, 976 yards passing. I mean, he's a gamer. He could change any game, even though they did get blown out in the second half against Florida State. Jaden Daniels is a gamer, man. He really is. He wasn't the reason they lost. He's a good player. 157 yards rushing on top of that with 2 rushing touchdowns. I think he's going to have a great game, but I think Arkansas squeaks this one out. In LSU, man, I can't wait. I just can't wait. I think KJ Jefferson's going to have a great game, so I like Arkansas over LSU. Forget Brian Kelly, man. I don't care. They're 17.5-point favorites. They're losing, dude. Even if they win, dude, I still don't respect Coach Kelly. I really don't. So go Arkansas. And then we got UAB versus Georgia. Georgia, 42.5-point favorites. We haven't really learned much about Georgia this year because their first 4 games have been trash opponents. They really have. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I just think overall Georgia, yes, you still have Brock Bowers. He's back. They got some dogs. Obviously, Georgia Bulldogs. They are dogs. They used to call me the Bulldog back in high school. The Bulldog. But I just think Georgia, they're gonna do what they do, and that's win games. Convincingly, okay, they're just gonna run through it, and I think they're gonna run through the SEC, and Georgia's gonna be back in the national championship. I really do. Why? Because of their defense. They have one of the best defenses in college football. They fly around the ball and they stop you and they hit you hard. So I think Georgia's definitely, if they're not number 1 seed, they'll definitely be in the top 4. But I think they're gonna run out their schedule. I really do. So shout out to head coach Kirby Smart. He's got something. He's shooting for a 3-peat here. Like, that's history. 3 national championships in a row for college is insane, dude. Like, Coach Kirby Smart, if you pull this off, I give you homage and respect. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Georgia's going to win it all, but they definitely have a shot. So, shout out to Georgia. I like them convincingly. Then we got Texas versus Baylor. This is a classic rivalry matchup. Texas, they are legit. They beat Bama. They're a top 4 team in the country right now. If this was the college football playoff, they'd be in. Shout out to Quinn Edwards, their starting quarterback. He looked great against Bama. Really calm and composed in the pocket. Didn't pressure. He's got 8. Didn't panic under pressure. He's got 8 tutties. 0 interceptions. So, I mean, he's playing flawlessly, dude. And they have a Manning there, I believe, in Texas right now. And they're like, dude, why is Manning not starting? Well, this dude Quinn is just straight a baller, dude. He's a dog. He has no fear in the pocket, and I think this is a dangerous Texas team. They have a legit chance of winning the national championship, just like they did against USC back in, I believe it was 06, when that USC had the powerhouse. They were going at 3 national championships that year with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and those guys. That's crazy, even though I think Pete Carroll lost in that game, not having Reggie Bush in on that 4th and 2 to give Vince Young a shot to win that game. But anyway, I think Texas wins. 14.5, I'll take that. I think Texas is really legit, dude. They really are. They are finally back here. I think college football is amazingly awesome when Texas and Notre Dame are at the top of their game. I'm telling you right, especially Texas. Texas football, they breathe it in high school. They eat it. They everything about football. So when Texas football in college is really the legit, it just helps football in general. It really does helps the college football world. So shout out to Texas. They're going to run through Baylor. And 49 is the over-under. I'll go with the over. I think Texas puts up some big numbers here. Beating Bama and beating Baylor, Texas is going to be in the college football playoff. That's what it looks like. And then we got Iowa versus Penn State. Penn State's a 15-point favorite. I'll go Penn State, but I'll go money line here. Iowa's nothing to sleep on. They're a solid team. One of the top Big Ten teams right now. I just think Cade McNamara, he's a Michigan transfer. He's a senior year. He's got 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. Really some experience for Iowa. But overall, I think right now, Penn State, they are the best Big Ten team right now. They're better than Ohio State. What I've seen, their defense is one of the best defenses in the country right now in Penn State. They really do. And then they got Drew Allar, 4 tutties, 0 interceptions. So I think right now, Penn State, dude, they're both 3-0. I think this is going to be a really close game. That's why I'm going Penn State money line. I think this game's going to come down to the wire. I think Iowa is really a legit team. But I think Penn State, dude, I'm telling you, there's something about them this year that I think they're going to run through the Big Ten. They're going to run through Michigan. They're going to run through Ohio State. And you mark my words, Penn State will win the Big Ten championship this year, finally. So I like Penn State over Iowa. I like that matchup. And then we got USC versus Arizona State. USC kind of has a cupcake schedule this year. Arizona State, really? Come on. Obviously, they're 34.5-point favorites. I'll go USC, but I'll go moneyline USC. Obviously, Caleb Williams, he'll be a number 1 draft pick next year. I mean, this guy, he's probably going to win Heisman this year. He's got 12 touchdowns, 0 picks, 878 yards passing. I think, he's definitely the clear Heisman favorite right now. I mean, he's the most talked about college football player right now. He's on TV, on commercials. So I think right now, if Caleb Williams keeps his head on straight and doesn't let, fame and money change him, I do think he could be a great quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people want to compare him to, the one of the GOATs right now, Patrick Mahomes. But let's pump our brakes here. He's not a Patrick Mahomes, and I will give them some respect to say, hey, he does kind of play like Mahomes. He really does. He extends the plays. He does some, really unorthodox things where you're just like, how? How does this dude do this? How does he just break out of this stuff like that? But I think, USC wins convincingly. Shout out to Caleb Williams, man. He's getting the job done. He'll probably win Heisman this year. I cannot wait. But college football week 4, huge games this weekend. I cannot wait. Bama, Ole Miss. I like Bama, man. Oregon, Colorado. The Colorado hype train finally ends with Coach Primetime taking his first L right now, right here this weekend. Then obviously my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, repping the green, go Irish. They're going to beat Ohio State 34-20. We're going to make Ohio State look like schoolgirls. I'm telling you that right now. Marcus Freeman, let's go. Win the big game. It's the Cloud with Cam show. Let's go!